Later, Martha's watch said 3 in the afternoon, but it felt like late at night, maybe even into the next day. She'd fallen over while teaching the Badgers how to do the conga and had slowly danced with Archibald and thus surrendered him to Zuza. And she'd been the doctor's assistant when he'd done card tricks in the cabaret. All in all, she was exhausted. So she sat in the cocktail lounge, sipping her hydrogen hydroxide and watching everyone else enjoy the party. The doctor slumped down in the chair beside her, and stupid grin on his face. Isn't this? He gestured for a happy, thronged and tentacled barman. Badger-faced former pirates, mouthless men from the engine room, and the rest of the starship crew. Isn't this just? He couldn't quite think of the word. Brilliant, Martha suggested. Yeah, said the doctor, laughing. That's exactly what this is. You want to stay, do you? His grin faded in his eyes. There was a terrible alien loneliness. He tried not to slow in when he turned to her. Nah, he said, all false to your knees. We'd get bored. Well, I'd get bored. And there'd be boring for you, so yeah. We'd both get bored. And I was what I said the first time. The doctor, she said seriously. What about everyone else? What about them? They might get bored too. What's the doctor? On a ship with everlasting cheese and pineapple sticks? Martha held his gaze, saying nothing. She knew he knew better than that, and it was just sometimes he needed reminding. Okay, he said at length, and got to his feet, and then he climbed unsteadily onto the chair beside her and started clapping his hands. Attention, he called. Oi, you honorable lot. Lend me your ear. The noise of the party died down, and the people came in from the ballroom to hear what he had to say. Speech, called Miss Winkler. Speech, said Captain Georgina, who looked at little Gypsy as was wearing a paper hat. Speech joined the rest of the party, and the doctor let them work themselves up a bit before calling them quiet. All right, a speech, he said, and he earned a massive cheer. And the party had never ended, he said, and again a massive cheer. And there's nobody who can tell you otherwise, he went on. And then after a dynamic pause, he added, except you. The partygoers glanced around at each other nervously, not sure what the doctor meant. Me and Martha, he told her, we're leaving in an hour. The audience booed good-naturedly. And when we're gone, he said the doctor, that's it. There's no way out of here. You stay here forever. The background rumble and chatter died suddenly, aware. Everyone stood transfixed at the doctor, so he told them, you can come with us, we'll drop you off somewhere, and you can continue your lives as you were, with the war coming and the real stuff to deal with. With food runs out and the people who die and things never quite the same anymore. He let them take that in. Or you can stay here forever. The party's going on, never getting old. But it never is going to be different. Never getting outside, never seeing anyone else but safe. They hung on his words, awed by what he was saying. No one owns any of you. No one else getting to decide. You have each other to each make your own choices. My ship's the blue box in the engine room, he said. You got an hour to decide. Come on, Martha. He jumped down from his chair and took Martha's hand in his and led through the crowd. The partygoers gasped at them in silence, and only sound coming from the brilliant hidden speakers was the pop tune came to an end. Martha let the doctor lead them to the center of the ballroom, and the passengers, pirates, and crews all around them. The doctor and Martha, left hand in hand, put his right hand around her waist, realizing that he meant to do, and she put her hand on his shoulder, and so to him she could feel the buttons of his suit against her chest, so close they could feel his heart beating. But what if they wanted to stay, she asked, looking around at the various friends they had made and those she had not even got to know. Then they stay, said the doctor, but they have to choose. From the brilliant speakers, a new pop song began, and took a moment for Martha to realize that it was, by which time she said to the doctor already started dancing. Grace Kelly, she laughed. The song, the doctor nodding, wheeling around the floor. I got it off your iPod. Thought you wouldn't mind. Good old Mika. Following the doctor and Martha's lead, the others joined on the dance floor. Jocelyn, Dashiell, Thomas, Captain Florence, Miss Wingsworth, and the other mouthless men. Archibald and both Kitty, Rose, and Sousa. Martha could see the same look on all their faces, the same determined to enjoy themselves, the same terror and confusion as they tried to make their choices. Martha looked away quickly, torn on the behalf. She kept her mind on the music and not treading on the doctor's toes. At least she didn't have to make the choice herself, she thought. But really, she already had, a long time ago. The one day he'd take her back to her own time, and she'd have to choose again. She hung on to the doctor and let him lead. The party aboard the Brilliant would go on forever, yet for those who would choose the one chance to escape, their last dance had begun.